Hey everybody, Logan here. Yeah, how about that? A little bit of non-Switch 2 video-ishness. Well, we haven't talked much about the PlayStation in a while. Why? Because, well, there really hasn't been much. And with all the negative things swirling around PlayStation, what was I going to bring to you? Hey, Concord was a flop. Hey, Sony's making a lot of bad decisions with these live service games. That's everywhere. Yeah, we've had a couple of bangers over the last year, like Stellar Blade and Helldivers 2. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, the only thing I've been able to bring you was the Helldivers 2 controller unboxing, the Victrix, not much else. And well, Sony's decided to change things around a little bit and not follow suit of Microsoft. Well, that's a really good thing because they've decided to, I guess, start heading down the approach of being more consumer friendly and actually listening to gamers, listening to the fans, the people that actually, pay their bills. Yeah, so instead of making everything digital, instead of, going the way of the cloud that nobody wants, Sony's like, all right, we're going to step back. We're going to listen to you. We're going to set down the right path. Hopefully, this enables a trend of other companies to do so. Microsoft's not going to do it. They're done. They're pulling out of the console race no matter what they said. They've already dropped their first party handheld for the Asus. They're probably going to do the same thing with the next Xbox console. If that even exists, it's probably just going to be an overpriced PC or an underpowered PC. We don't know, but as of right now, we can pretty much see there's going to be no more real dedicated Xbox hardware. So Sony, it seems like they're going, all right, we're going to do the opposite. Let me bring you this article that I saw this morning while doing my daily research, see if there's anything else besides a bunch of awesome controllers that I do have coming for you that are not Switch 2. I got some good PC stuff coming, some good PC stuff. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn that bell on for notifications so you can see all the new controllers coming out that I am covering. Game, sir, if you want. Okay. Let's get into the article. So let me show you this article here. Like I said, it's from GameStop. No, sorry, GameSpot. I always do that. But hey, I know I'm not the only one. So let's look at this article. And it says, for PS6, Sony is betting on ads everywhere. No, Sony's betting on hardware power, not the cloud. Sony has confirmed that its next console won't be a cloud gaming machine. Hallelujah. Because nobody wants that. Nobody wants that cloud gaming nonsense. Stadia failed. That streaming box from Xbox failed. Oh, wait, it never came out because they saw the writing on the wall. But one thing that Xbox is doing is they're making it so you can only play Xbox games via the cloud on the new Xbox Ally. So it'll play your PC games, but it won't play your Xbox games. Yeah, I know, crazy, right? No native Xbox play. So when I mean Xbox games, I mean Xbox console games, not Xbox PC. It's a whole different mumbo jumbo bunch of nonsense. I hope this leads into Sony's handheld because, again, I'm not a big fan of what they did with the PlayStation Portal. Being cloud, it just wasn't there for me. And a lot of gamers thought it was cool to play it in the other side of your house or something like that. But on the go, it just really didn't cut it for most people. And I think it was a step in the wrong direction. But this article makes me think, hey, they might have noticed that and listened to what consumers are saying. So let's read the article. It says Sony's PS5 console will turn 5 years old in November. And with an eye on the future, the company recently revealed its thoughts on what's next for PlayStation during a business presentation hosted by several top Sony executives. Top guys. President and CEO Hideki Nishino responded to a query about future PlayStation hardware and if a next-gen PS6 console was even necessary when cloud gaming has improved over the years. Whoever said that needs to be just told to leave. It's like, there's the door. There's the door. Nobody wants that. There's the door. According to Nishino, while cloud gaming is progressing well from a technical standpoint, Certain challenging aspects like end-to-end network stability remain out of Sony's control. Nishino added that cloud-based gameplay is still a viable option for gamers and allows them to access more content, but the local execution of games via physical media or content download directly to console hardware remains in high demand by the majority of PlayStation gamers. Booyaka. Exactly. Someone who asked that question is probably one of those people who just live in a square box in a city and never leave there and think anybody else outside of that little city are backwards, whatever. You know what? Not everybody, the majority, especially here in the US, do not live in cities. There's more of us that live in suburbs and out in what they like to call flyover states that don't have the best internet connection. Yeah, even suburbs. Yeah, they still don't have the fastest and everything. And so cloud gaming is not that great. I've used it myself. I've used it with the PlayStation Plus Premium, and it's pretty spotty. I've used it with the PlayStation Portal, and I've used it with the Asus ROG Ally. It is not that great. I've used it on my phone, even directly connected via Xbox Game Pass, and it's still not the best. It's okay, and we're talking within the last year. So whoever's saying that, just shut it. You're wrong. You're wrong. So yeah, let's continue. Cloud gaming is increasingly providing an additional option for players to access content, but our belief is that the majority of players continue to want to play and experience gaming through local execution without dependency on network conditions. Nishino said PS5 and PS5 Pro have validated this thesis. I believe you are correct, good sir. There's a reason why I've shifted as someone who, again, who used to work for Microsoft, who worked for their Xbox brand, who is an Xbox fanboy, has shifted to PlayStation because I totally agree with physical gaming. I like my games physical because what happens, especially I live in Florida, we have quite a bit of thunderstorms. We've had them for the last few days. This is our rainy season. What happens after a hurricane knocks out our power for a week? Our internet's not the first thing that comes back. Our power comes back. We could not have internet for a week or two. After that, it happens. So you know what? We still like to play our games. And you know what? If we do have a handheld that is not cloud-based, it makes life a million times better because when our power goes out, we have that too. So there's a lot of issues. And especially if you're someone who lives in the suburbs, which happens to be quite a bit of the United States, depending on where you live, you may not have the best internet. And one thing I've learned from, especially now doing all these podcasts and everything like that, and talking with more and more people, I see that more and more people across the US, especially the ones that interact with my channel, don't have fiber optic, don't have the fastest cable internet. Some just have regular, 400 megabit or less speeds. Come on. So cloud gaming is not the way to go, and I greatly appreciate Sony for taking this step. Nintendo has kept with, well, at least what we're seeing, physical games. The keycard thing is a place to argue about, but hey, I'm not a big fan of the keycard thing. I like my games like on the cart, like Mario Kart is, well, unless you got the digital bundle, and Cyberpunk, great, and the new Donkey Kong, and so on and so forth. But Sony doing this, all right, now just make sure your whole game is on the disc. Let's just do that too, Sony, because we don't want that 80 something megabits while the rest you have to download. No. We want our games actually physical. All right, bring it back down. Let's keep reading. On the topic of the next-gen PlayStation console, Nishino remained tight-lipped. Our console business has evolved into a multifaceted platform, and we now have a large ecosystem of highly engaged players across both the PS5 and PS4 generations. So naturally, there's a huge interest in our next-generation console strategy, Nishino said. While we cannot share further details at this stage, the future of the platform is top of mind. We are committed to exploring a new and enhanced way for players to engage with our content and services. Now, what I'm going to say there, that is corporate jargon for the PS5 generation has kind of failed because really, remember the days when we would get a ton of exclusives, a ton of first party games every year? Well, yeah, that ain't going to be happening for the foreseeable future for PS5. It looks like they're focusing on one a year, but I feel like they're also trying to rebuild after the nonsense that Sony in California had really destroyed with games that nobody wanted. Let's just say the whole Concord and Last of Us 2 debacles. Yeah, people just went, nah, we're good. Sony went, nah, we're good. You fired. We're bringing it back, everything to Japan. So I think that's what they're trying to do. They're still trying to get things situated. We'll see. Hopefully, I'm right. Again, hopefully, I'm right because a lot of us are seeing this. Those that are seeing this now want a physical game future. And then there are plenty of people that want to get their games digitally as well, but they actually want hardware so they could store their game on their hardware and not have to worry about the cloud or always being connected because, well, it ain't the best. Let's continue. What we do know about the PS6 is that it likely won't be out for quite a while. That's fine. Former PlayStation executive Shuya Yoshida recently said that if the next PlayStation comes out in 2028, that would feel right to him. Given how current console generations typically run for around 7 years now, that's true. I Okay, you know what? I'm completely fine, but even so, if it's around 7 years, it came out at the end of 2020, so you're looking at 2026, brother. Yeah, that's a bit longer. That's almost 9 years, sir. So I'm not 100% sure with 2028, especially if Xbox decides to market their new PC Xbox or whatever they're calling that nonsense as 2026. I think we could see a response to that as early as 2027. Or who knows? Maybe as early as holiday 2026. I don't believe that. I'm going to say 2027, but I think the PS5 Pro is a very good stopgap, but it is rather pricey. Let's continue. In 2024, it was reported that Intel made a big push to produce chips for the PS6, but Sony decided to stick with AMD. While PlayStation gamers will be in for the long wait, Sony did introduce a mid-gen refresh PS5 a mid-gen PS5 refresh last year in the form of the PS5 Pro. The PS5 Pro I think is a great system. I think it's a good upgrade. I don't think it is the best upgrade. I don't think it's like the Xbox One X compared to the Xbox One, where it was like night and day. This one is just a good stopgap. Like I said, I mean, it's got power. It really pushes what PlayStation 5 can be or should have been, but the PlayStation 5 is still a solid machine. So I don't think you're losing anything by owning a PlayStation 5 as compared to the PS5 Pro, but I think the PS5 Pro can definitely hold us until we get that PlayStation 6. So that is the end of the article. And yeah, and there's all kinds of other stuff they put down here, blah, 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 yakety schmackety. Now, from my understanding, there's also talk about PlayStation Plus raising their prices, but that's probably in response to Xbox saying that they're going to increase their prices to like $50 a month, I think it is, for Game Pass Ultimate, which is a little nuts. But Sony likes to do this thing where it's like, hey, Microsoft's doing it. Hey, Nintendo's doing it. Now let's do it. So I don't agree with that. I think that's probably a very bad idea. But hey, you know, c'est la vie, such is life. Prices are going up everywhere. And it's a reaction to basically the last 4 years of are just the economy, especially here in the US. And then, it trickles out. Our economy goes to crap. The world economy goes to crap. We're the leaders of everything. Sorry, but it's true. So we probably will see these price hikes until everything can start working its way back down. It's slowly doing it. We can see it in gas prices, but honestly, it's going to take some time. And I don't think these big companies are going to basically pull back their prices. I think even when everything goes back down in price, things become more manageable. Game companies are going to be like, nah, we're going to keep the prices up here. People were paying it then, they'll pay it now that things are more affordable. Do I think it's a shoddy practice? Yes, but hey, at least we got some good news in this video. At least we know that Sony is sticking to physical and not going cloud and fully digital. We're still going to get games on disc. Hopefully they're actually games on disc and not that, like the, what was it, Doom the Dark Ages had 80 something megs. What is that nonsense? Or the Call of Duty, same thing. Hopefully we don't get that. We actually get the games on disc, and you only download the updates if necessary. And well, physical consoles are great, and disk drive, I'm looking forward to it. Tell me what you guys think of a new PS6 in the vein of what we've always known and loved. Tell me in the comments section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this video. God bless each and every one of you. And like we always say, be legendary. Thanks again.